Random J Productions welcomes you to the Daytona International Speedway for this year's running of the renamed Coke Zero Showdown. Tonight, 37 of stock cars best all lined up on the grid, ready for what should be another exciting and chaotic race here on this 4th of July weekend. But before we get started, let's take a look at our starting lineup and pre-race ceremonies. So on the pole is the 42 Nathan Stapleton for Earnhardt Ganassi in the 42, and next to him, Hendrick Motorsports number 24, driven by Keith Saracen, as Hendrick looks to win their second straight showdown. Row 2, we got Richard's teammate of Hoodlum, and next to him, the number 52, driven by Gerald Alonso. Row 3, Sky Otero in the 15, and next to him, another Hendrick car, this time the number 48, driven by Philip Torres. Row 4, we got Kyle Sistra in the 20, the highest starting Gibbs driver here tonight. And next time we got the highest starting RCR driver, the number 29 of Nick Sands. Row 5, Danny Mattiello in the 17, and the 34 of Alex Mullen. Row 6, we got the 55 of Random J, and the 95 of Caleb Rose. Row 7, we got Johnny Hernandez in the 1, and next on the number 12 of Horn Dog, the highest starting Dodge here tonight. Row 8, Ross McTrain in the 23, and the 49 of Dylan Matthews. Row 9, Bradley Ream in the 56, and the 91 of Britton Carruthers. Row 10, Ryan Wilson in the 43, and the 11 of Jack Haas. Row 11, Calvin Baker in the 21, and the 31 of Trey Smith. Row 12, defending showdown winner, Nathan Ormer in the 32, and Roberto Crown in the 33. In row 13, we got Owen Miles in the 38, and the 93 of Daniel Voiles. Row 14, Lipsy in the 2, and the 9 of Noah Clifton. Row 15, Brendan Beal in the 14, and the 22 of Patrick Miller. Row 16, Aaron Abel in the 27, and affiliate teammate Daniel Rice in the 78. Row 17, Jordan Stout in the big brown truck, and Jason Albert, who of course finished second at this race in 2021. Row 18, we got the 2 Matthews, the 51 of Matthew Burnett, and the 16 of Matthew Hill. And finally, row number 19 is the 39 of Jose Angel. And now it is time for a pre-race ceremony, starting with our national anthem.
See by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now, with the sold-out crowd on hand and on their feet, it is time for the starting command here in the Coke Zero Showdown.
Drivers, start your engines!
Well, let's take a look at tonight's Track Fast Facts, brought to you by our partners over at Sprint and its Fast 4G LTE network. So gonna go 20 laps on this 2.5 mile long tri-oval super speedway. There are 31 degrees of banking in the corners. And as for the weather here tonight in Daytona Beach, 75 degrees Fahrenheit with 11 miles per hour towards the south. Also, our pit window here for tonight is around the 14 to 16 lap marker. And the past winners here in the showdown include Nelson Rees in 2021 and last year Nathan Ormond in 2022. Now, before we get started here tonight in Daytona, I just want to say a few things. First off, a huge thank you to everyone who signed up for the showdown this year. 37 drivers, by far the biggest showdown field to date. Thank you guys so much for the turnout. Kind of wish we could have got it to 42, but 37 still a fantastic number, and even exceeded some of my expectations as well. So thank you all once again. And second, I just want to, of course, say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported Firecracker Week so far in 2023. Planning, filming, commentating, and editing 3 races in just a span of a handful of days certainly is not an easy task, but I'm doing it just for y'all, and I really hope y'all enjoyed this race as well as the rest of Firecracker Week here in 2023. But with that all out of the way, the pace car heads down pit road as this sellout crowd in Daytona is on their feet, ready for the Coke Zero Showdown here in 2023. Off the tri-oval is by even between Richardson and Stapleton, but going into turn number 1, Stapleton have the advantage over Richardson, ironically, as he's being helped out by Richardson's teammate of Hoodlum. Off for turn number 2, both Stapleton and Hoodlum move to the outside in front of the 24, while the other entry car, the 48 of Torres, moves to the middle as he's all by himself with no help behind. Into turn number 3, Stapleton can move back down to the inside to block the Toyotas of Taylor and Sustripe, as there's about a car length gap between the 42 and 15. Coming off turn number 4, as drivers towards the middle and back of the pack are already going 3 wide, but coming back to the stripe, it's going to be a pole sitter of Stapleton, leading lap number 1 here in the showdown. And that time by the Toyotas of both Taylor and Sustripe got a huge run on the 42, as Taylor will go to the outside and behind Stapleton before the both of them move to the inside in front of Sustripe. Meanwhile, the 48 of Torres, who was of course in the middle not too long ago, is now the lead car on the outside, with Alonso and Nixon, the 2 cars behind him. Off for 2, the 42, 15, and 20 all move to the outside before the 20 looks to the inside alongside the 15, as Sustripe is going to go with the 17 and Matt Yellow, while Taylor's going to save a Stapleton going into turn number 3. But much like last time by into turns 3 and 4, Stapleton and Okuku come back down to the inside to block Sustripe. Off for turn number 4, here comes a strong run from both the 17 and 55 of Matteo and Random respectively, as Stapleton and Sustripe move back to the outside in front of the 15, as they come to lap number 2 with Stapleton moving back down to the inside as he leads another lap here at Daytona. And Sustripe going to the outside, he's going to be side by side with Matteo for second, as here comes Random making it 3 wide behind Stapleton for second, but as soon as I say that, Stapleton is going to Kuku come back down to block the inside, as Random remains 3 wide with the 20 and 17, as Sustripe has almost no help on the outside. Off for 2, Stapleton goes back to the outside, while Random was thinking about also joining Stapleton on the outside, but instead resorts to the middle, as here comes Hernandez making it 3 wide for the lead going into turn number 3. Staple and Random almost have no help in their respective lanes, as Hernandez has the full force of the inside lane behind him with the 23 of McTrain in tow. Coming to complete lap number 3, Hernandez is going to move to the outside in front of the 55, as he's all by himself this time. Coming to lap number 4, as he'll be side by side with McTrain off the tri-oval. But as soon as I say, there comes Bradley Reed with the 56, making it 3 wide into turn number 1 once again. Even though it's just lap number 4 of this 20-lap race, everyone's going to race against the last lap, as the front of the field has gone 3 wide 3 separate times in the span of just 1 lap or so. But down the backstretch again into turn number 3, we're 3 wide again, this time with Carruthers in the middle in the 91, as Bradley Cook will come down to the inside to block the defending showdown, the winner of Ormond. Off for 4, both Ream and Ormond move to the middle and then to the outside to block Carruthers, until Bradley comes back down to the inside to block Miles in the 38, coming to lap number 5. And with how this pack and how these leaders are racing so far, I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been an accident, as this is the longest showdown that has gone green so far. And as Bradley goes back to the inside into turn number 1, they're once again 3 wide behind, with Miles being forced to the middle by the 2 of Lipsy. On board of Owen Miles down the back straightaway as he's side by side with Beal. As here comes Lipsy for strong run on the inside. As here comes the help from Beal going into turn number 3. As the 2 and 56 will be side by side for the lead. Now, of course, with these car tomorrows, despite having 4 different manufacturers, each car is essentially the same mold, which subsequently caused these bumpers to lock very well with one another. Off of 4, coming towards the triangle, Lipsy's going to go to the outside in front of Reem, as there's Beal side by side, the 2 car coming to lap number 6. Off the triangle, Beal goes to the middle, potentially opening the door for Aaron Abel into turn number 1 before Beal comes back down to the inside the block. Into turn number 2, you can see the top 7 or so being 2 wide of one another, while everybody else behind is still 3 by 3. Off of 2, Beal is going to move to the outside in front of Lipsy, while Abel is going to move to the middle, where there's nobody else behind to help once again. As here comes a strong run from the inside into turn number 3, with Stout and Burnett being the 2 lead drivers, before Beal makes a late dive to the inside. And just like that, the pack behind the leader is once again 3 by 3 as you come off turn number 4, as both Beal and Stout move to the middle and then to the outside. Now as the top 3 move to the outside, here comes Stout looking to the inside of Beal as they're side by side for the lead into turn number 1. Meanwhile, the 39 of Jose Angel alongside Stout's teammate of Matthew Hill in the 16 also set this picture as well, as the 99 and 14 remain side by side off for turn number 2. Off of 2, both Stout and Beal move to the outside from the 51, as Angel's going to move to the middle, but this time around he's going to get help as Burnett moves to the middle, but here comes a run from Albert and Hill into turn number 3. And with those aggressive moves that time by, that's going to leave Stout and Beal stuck on the outside, as the middle line actually has some momentum that time by as to come off turn number 4, with Angel moving to the outside, Hill moving to the middle, leaving Albert now the lead car on the inside, coming to lap number 8. Hill is going to move to the outside as him and Albert remain side by side for the lead as he moves to the middle. Here comes the 22 and Miller making it 3 wide once again for the lead. It's just been non-stop 3-wide action for the first 8 laps here in the Coke Zero Showdown, and that doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, as Miller will clear Albert for the lead as he moves to the outside. We are still 3 wide down the back straight and into turn number 3, this time with Trey Smith in the middle and the 70 to Daniel Rice out of nowhere. But off of 4, Miller is able to maintain the lead on both the 31 and the 78, as both Miller and Rice are going to move to the outside in front of the 31, coming to lap number 8 as all this contact between Crown and Rice. That was definitely really close, but also really scary for not only those 2 drivers, but the rest of the field behind them, as that could have easily caused a major wreck. But back to the race as we're on board the 48 Torres, going 3 wide into turn number 2, forcing Crown to the middle. And off of 2, you can see the strong run Torres gets as he now chases down Miller for the lead. Continuing down the back, everyone behind the 22 remains 3 wide, with the 48 going in between the 78 and 22 into turn number 3, as here comes the strong run from Jack Haas on the inside. Now let's take a look at a brief replay of what happened to Rice and Crown last time by. So going into the trial, Rice goes to the outside, but then wants to go back down to the inside, but just didn't realize Crown was there. And in fact, actually I corrected, those 2 actually never made contact at all. But regardless, it was still very close and could have caused a major accident. And it definitely goes to show you just how important spotter and driver communication are at these super speedway races. We know into turn number 1, here comes Jack Haas side by side with Miller for the lead, as he has the 9 of Clifton behind to help. It looks like off of 2, Haas will clear Miller for the lead as they come down the back straight, with Haas moving to the outside in front of the 22. Continuing down the back straightaway, Haas is going to move to the outside in front of the 22, while Clifton will move to the middle in front of Dylan Matthews, as that leaves Nick Stanton on the lead driver on the inside into turn number 3 until Haas comes to block. Coming to the halfway point here in the Coke Zero Showdown, it's going to be Jack Haas leading lap number 10, while Nick Stanton and Rose remain close in tow. Off the trial, the aforementioned top 3 is going to move to the outside in front of Clifton, as there's Nick Stanton into turn number 1 looking to the inside of Haas. Rose will also join as well, barely clearing the 24 of Richardson, as that bold move is going to leave Haas stranded in the middle. Off of 2, both Nick Stanton and Haas move up to the outside, where Rose is going to move to the middle all by himself, as we're once again 3 wide for second into turn number 3, as Rose tried to move to the outside in between the 29 and 11, but instead he's going to remain 3 wide, this time for the lead, as there's Richardson on the inside for strong run. Off of 4 is going to be Richardson, who takes the lead for now as he moves to the middle in front of Rose, leaving Matteo once again the lead driver on the inside, coming to lap number 12. Richardson off the Trival is going to move in front of his fellow Chevy on the outside, and with Matteo into turn number 1 movement to the middle, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead once again with Wilson coming up on the inside. And once again, this pack remains 3 by 3 as Wilson will take the lead away from both Matteo and Richardson off of turn number 2. Off of 2, Wilson was in the middle for quickly moving up to the outside in front of Matteo, as subsequently Orman's going to move to the middle in front of Rose, making Nathan Stapleton now the lead driver on the inside once again into turn number 3. Now moving a little bit towards the back of the pack, you can see some drivers laying back a little bit, like the 52 of Hairdryer Alonso, alongside the 5 of Jason Albert, Daniel Rice, Brendan Buell, among others. But moving back up to the front, coming to lap number 13, we're once again 3 wide, with Stapleton in the middle as he leads this time by. But as soon as that happens, the 42 is going to move back to the outside, while McTrain's going to be in the middle, with Random down the lead driver into turn number 1 on the inside, with the fellow Toto Daniel Voles behind to help. Off of 2, Random now joins the outside lane in front of McTrain, leaving Horndog and Carruthers now the lead 2 drivers on the inside going into turn number 3. Once again, coming off turn number 4, the pack remains 3 by 3, 3 wide for the lead as we're on board of Voiles. And as Voiles moves to the outside in front of Random, coming to lap number 14, it's going to be no match for the 12 of Horndog as he leads this time by. Off the Trival, the 12 is going to move to the outside in front of the 93, while the 91 is stuck all by himself in the middle into turn number 1, as here's Hernandez and Ream once again on the inside. Now, if you remember the sprint fast facts before this race, the pit stop and fill window is now just opening, which of course raises the question of when these drivers are going to come down pit road. And assuming if this race stays green, we're going to have a green flag pit stop cycle that will ultimately decide this race. Off of 4, Crown nearly went 4 wide with the rest of the field before thankfully moving back down to the inside. As here comes the 21 of Kellen Baker behind on the inside to help Hernandez as we come to lap number 15, only 6 laps to go. Hernandez now is going to move to the outside of no help at all, as he's going to be side by side with Baker for the lead into turn number 1. And despite Hernandez moving back down to the middle, he's going to lose a lot of ground going into turn number 2, as the 3 Fords of Baker, Miles, and Stout lead the inside off for turn number 2. Off of 2, both Baker and Miles move up to the outside in front of Hernandez, while Stout and the 2 cars behind them of Lipsy and Beal are going to move to the middle, going into turn number 3, as here comes a strong run from Stout as Miles tried to block, while Baker was able to defend. Now off for turn number 4 this time by, watch the drivers on the inside. Will they come down pit road this time by, or will they stay out as here they come? Baker, Stout, Beal, Smith all down pit road, as well as, Random goes for a spin off of 4. His teammate is Skylar Taylor in the 15, as well as the 78 of Daniel Rice also get damaged as well, as we're under caution for the first time here tonight in the Coke Zero Showdown. Now, with this caution coming out with exactly 5 laps to go, it's going to mean 2 things. For one, these drivers coming down pit road and doing their pit stops right now, this is going to be a huge break for them, as they're able to maintain a position in contrast to the drivers still out on track, yet to pit. We're going to have our first ever green white checkered finish here in the showdown, as, the 49 of Dylan Matthews is done with his pit stop, but is cutting through the grass, as he's going to come out in front of several drivers trying to exit the fairway on pit lane. Oh my goodness, that might be a penalty for the 49. We'll have to wait and see as that time by. The 38 of Owen Miles was your leader, followed by Johnny Hernandez and the 2 of Lipsy, but it's not going to be for long, as these guys are going to come down pit road this time by. Now, also at pit road, you saw some damage to both the 55 of Random J and the 78 of Daniel Rice, and because of this caution, where ironically both got their damage from. So who knows, depending how severe the damage is, Random and Rice may not be out of this race entirely. But here we go, off of 4. Here come the last remaining drivers down pit road, led by Owen Miles, Hernandez, Lipsy, Ream, Carruthers, and Burnett. Now, much like our last group down pit road, the common consensus here will be gas and go only, as tire wear doesn't really matter in the smooth surface here at Daytona, as the race off pit road this time by is going to be Miles first off pit road, Ream second, and Carruthers barely beating Burnett for third. But anyways, let's take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our first and race-changing caution. So all just started coming off turn number 4. Watch the 55 at Random J on the center of your screen. He's on the outside lane in this pack and is trying to get down pit road. So off of 4 here comes the inside down pit road, able to get down just fine. As the 22 and 52 made some contact there, but here comes Random trying to join these guys almost at the last minute. But some screwy, he comes down right in front of his teammate of Skylar Taylor, who sends a 55 spinning right in front of the other drivers trying to come on pit road here, with the 70 and Daniel Rice being a mere victim of that, getting additional damage there. Let's take a look at this from slow motion and from up above. So again, Random coming from the outside lane is trying to get on pit entrance as, contact from Hoodlum sent McTrain into the 15 of Taylor, which resulted Taylor clipping Random, sending the 55 spinning in front of everybody else. So I don't think there was any foul play on Taylor's end. It was just a massive chain reaction there, as you see Random getting into the right side door of Daniel Rice, with Taylor also getting additional damage to her left front end. And you can see both Hoodlum and McTrain are quick on the brakes, trying to minimize any contact, but those two did get some minor damage there. There was also some contact a little bit earlier with Hoodlum and Jose Angel, and we'll show that soon, but first, let's go on board with Taylor. So again, Taylor got some contact from behind, which sent her into Random. Again, I don't really think Taylor did anything wrong, just nothing but a massive chain reaction there. Now let's go on board with Random to see his point of view. So there was plenty of room for Random to get into pit entrance, but there's that tap from the 15, and from Random's point of view, you can probably imagine that he is not too happy with the 15, considering that they're both Michael Waltrip Racing drivers, but after the race, he's going to realize what actually happened. On board with Jose Angel. So if Angel being on the inside, he got down pit entrance just fine, but Hoodlum, for whatever reason, door slammed the right of the 39, but Angel was quick on the brakes and avoided any major damage from the 55. And finally, here's what happened to the 49 and Dylan Matthews. So this will show you after the Random spin. He does his pit stop, does his usual business, but after his pit stop is done and over with, he, for whatever reason, goes to the trioval grass and passes and cuts through everyone using the proper way of pit lane. And in fact, we're just now getting word from race officials that they do plan to penalize Dylan Matthews, as he'll be issued a time penalty, as we're going to find out what exactly that time penalty is, as we're under caution here in the Coke Zero Showdown, as we'll be right back for you guys for our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Welcome back to the 2023 edition of the Coke Zero Showdown here at Daytona. We're about to go back green after the 55 at Random J went for a spin while we're trying to get on pit road. And because of that, other drivers such as Skylar Taylor, Daniel Rice in the 78, and because of the other drivers like Skylar Taylor, Daniel Rice, Hoodlum, and Jose Angel, as well as Ross McTrain, received some sort of damage. And also immediately after Random went for a spin, the 49 and Dylan Matthews cut through the grass to exit out of pit road, and because of that, we'll get a time penalty after this race. Even though right now on this ticker, he's scored in the 5th position, by the end of this race, he will be scored as the last car on the lead lap, aka dead last in the 37th position. As for this top 3, the 99 of Jordan Stout is your leader, followed by Brendan Beal in the 14, and the 95 of Caleb Rose. And of course, with this caution coming out with 5 laps to go, this will be our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish, meaning that we're going to have 3 different attempts to reach the white flag. And once you reach the white flag, the next flag, regardless if it's the caution or checkered flag, will end the race. As Ryan Wilson, for whatever reason, I don't know what he's doing, it's not in his proper restart position, which could potentially result in a penalty for the 43 as well. As here we go, green-white checkered, attempt number 1 here in the Coke Zero Showdown. A great restart for Brendan Beal on the outside, but he got such a good restart, he has absolutely no help behind him. And immediately, here comes a strong run from Stout on the inside. Here comes Rose now, looking to the inside of Stout into turn number 1, as Beal is going to move back down to the inside to block the 95. And that's going to leave Stout stranded on the outside, as going into 2 now, here comes Matthew Hill to potentially pick up his teammates. Off for 2, both Beal and Rose move up to the outside in front of the 99, as that leads to penalize Dylan Matthews on the lead driver on the inside before he moves to the middle, with Rose also joining the 49 car in the middle, going into turn number 3, before the both of them move back down to the inside. In the turn, swinging forward for the second to last time, Bill and Rose are going to be side by side for the lead, as Rose now moves to the outside in front of Bill, and again with Matthews being penalized, Rose is going to be effectively side by side with Crown for the lead, coming to the white flag, only 1 lap to go here at Daytona. Matthews will move to the middle, as here comes Crown on the inside, making a 3-wide into turn number 1 once again. And that's going to shuffle Rose out to the outside, as that 95 car is absolutely no help at all, as Crown will clear the 49 car into turn number 2 for the final time. Now as they're on board with Crown down the back straightaway, he's going to move to the outside in front of the 49, while the 20 of Sustride is going to move to the middle in front of Beal. As on the inside, here comes a strong run from the Chevys of Albert and Smith into turn number 3, as Crown quickly dives to the inside the block. Looks like I got a slow car towards the back of the pack, but off for turn number 4, both Albert and Crown move to the middle before Albert looks to the inside of Crown, coming towards the start finish line, checkered flag, Crown wins the Coke Zero Showdown. What a finish, and frankly, what a race it has been here tonight at Daytona. As of course, a big congratulations to Roberto Crown Jr. and Richard Childress Racing, as they are winners for the Coke Zero Showdown here in 2023. Now, I want to know how many laps Crown won here tonight? Just one. The last one, which happens to be the most important one out of them all. Now, in other news, we just now got word from race officials that they are going to penalize Ryan Wilson for an improper restart. Now, coming off of 4 here, Wilson was obviously supposed to be on the outside in between Alonso and Miller, but instead Wilson was in the middle. But then even off of turn number 4, Wilson does not go back up to the outside. Instead, just continues to force Hernandez slowly but steadily to the bottom of the track. And even when the green flag came out, Wilson remained in the middle, and then only decided to move back up to the outside when he went to the start-finish line. But regardless, race officials deemed it was still enough to penalize the 43 car, as he will be scored as the second to last car out on track into 36th position. And as for what happened towards the back of the pack at the end of the race, if you remember, of course, on lap number 16, the 78 of Rice, the 15 of Taylor, and the 55 of Random all got damaged from Random's pit road spin. And even though all 3 of them started up towards the top 20 at the end of this race, the damage to their cars was severe enough to affect their speed. As you just see how slow Random is compared to the drivers behind them, as everyone off of turn number 2 of 2 laps ago tried to get around them. But then here's what happened on the final lap. Watch the 17 of Mateo into turns 3 and 4, as the 17 car apparently has some sort of mechanical issue. Something probably broke on that car. And as soon as that happened, Mateo tried to go down to the inside immediately, almost got wrecked by the 22 of Patrick Miller, before finally making it down to the apron and inching his car down pit road. But anyways, let's take a look at the finish results here in the 2023 Coke Zero Showdown. So here we go, Roberto Crown in the 33 for RCR wins the Coke Zero Showdown, making the second straight showdown for Chevrolet. Meanwhile, Jason Albert in the 5 gets his second runner-up finish here in the Coke Zero Showdown after losing by 2 1,000ths of a second in 2021. So definitely just another heartbreaker for Albert. We got a strong run in the inside off of turn number 4, but it was just not enough to get around that 33. Meanwhile, Crown's teammate of Trey Smith will finish 3rd, while Albert's teammate over Hendrick, the 88 car of Hoodlum, will finish 4th. And to run off the rest of the top 5 is the highest placing Toyota of Kyler Sustride in the 20. Meanwhile, Ross Petrino finished 6th in the 23, where Brendan Bill, who had a very strong car towards the end of this race, will finish 7th. Meanwhile, on 8th is the 34 of Alex Mullen, as he is the highest placing Ford here tonight, while Jordan Stout, who also had a very strong car towards the end of this race, will finish 9th, and rounding off the rest of this top 10 will be the 95 of Caleb Rose. And finally, as for the penalties here tonight, of course, Ryan Wilson did get penalized for the improper restart. He went from finishing 33rd to 36th. Not too much of a difference there for Wilson. He was going to finish below the top 30 anyway, while Dylan Matthews in the 49 was going to finish 8th originally, but because he cut through pit road under that caution, he will finish as the last car on the lead lap and dead last in the running order in 37th. Anyways, that just about wraps up the 2023 Coke Zero Showdown. Once again, I just want to thank everybody for watching, and also thank you to everyone who has signed up for the race this year. And as previously mentioned, 37 drivers. It's by far the biggest showdown field to date, and hopefully this support will keep up for the final race here in Firecracker Week, which is of course the main event, the 2023 Firecracker 400, the 3rd race of the PSL, and of course the summer's biggest race, which will be on this channel on 4th of July itself at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But as always, y'all, thank you guys for watching this race. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.